And now both Mike and Tom are 4-1-1. So there's no opportunity to draw here. They both need to win. And Tom leads off with, you might call it the best card in Magic, Black Lotus.
It is
Always,
like the physical representation of the highest peak of Magic is the Black Lotus, right?
absolutely.
And it's strange that that, of all things, landed there, but obviously it is very powerful.
So Tom leads off with Mana Vault into Grim Monolith. He has 4 colorless and 3 blue,
Ooh, this is a good
sacrificing
start.
Lotus for blue. Eventually Lotus will make its way to the graveyard. I wish it stuck around, but that is not the case. And he casts Time Twister. And so he's going to have 4 mana up, 2 colorless, 2 blue. And more importantly, he's got 3 permanents in play after resolving Time Twister.
This is exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's effectively a mulligan to 10. You know, you have 3 permanents in play, and then you've got 7 new cards, and he's got 4 mana floating too.
And just taking away the ability for his opponent to actually mulligan. So if these 7 cards are all lands, Mike is playing with them.
Absolutely. Mike does not have the option to mulligan. I have unfortunately accidentally mulliganed after a draw 7 resolved. And the fix is you shuffle your hand away, have a nice day. You shouldn't have done that. And yeah, that's rough. So Tom gets 4 mana floating. He's got 2 blue, 2 colorless right now, assuming he's using his mana intelligently, which at 4-1-1, I'm sure he knows how to do. And let's see what he pulls off the top for his 7 cards. So we see some artifact mana, we see a memory jar.
At the very least, he can cast Memory Jar.
Got that Mox Opal that we were talking about. So right now, Tom, if he continues this turn, which he looks like he's going to continue, is at 6 Storm right now, if you remember the Time Twister and the Black Lotus, and all the spells you see in play.
So you're saying there's 4 colorless floating, right?
No, so so if he
should be some blue.
he should or could have had blue, but we don't know. He had 3 blue at one point. If he used it all for the Time Twister, or maybe he's just autopiloting that he.
The first one should be Mana Vault, and then tap into Grim Monolith, and then Monolith floating 4 colorless.
Yeah, in a
and
perfect
2
world,
blue.
he would have 2 colors, 2 blue, floating after the Time Twister.
Yeah, or 2 colorless and a blue with Underground Sea untapped is where I would be at.
Well, he needed to use Underground. Well, he used Underground Sea to cast Mana Vault.
Right, but he didn't need to.
Sure. But sometimes you worry about whether or not, if Mana Vault gets misstepped, now you're looking at a slightly different...
Okay.
if Mana Vault got misstepped, then you'd still be able to cast Grim Monolith into Time Twister off of just Lotus.
I think you could still do that either way.
Oh, because he would have the Underground Sea untapped at that
Yeah.
point? Yeah. Interesting. He decided to pass. I don't think he had many great options.
Didn't want to play the jar, and look at this. Stony Silence. Wow.
So Mana Vault is going to deal him a point of damage, and Mike is right back in it.
Mike did not mind that Time Twister at all, huh?
No. Not at all.
Look at that 7 that he had. Impressive. Force of Will, blue card, some preordains, kill condition, the hate card for your opponent in game
Absolutely.
1.
Absolutely. So Mike is in a good spot right now, too. He's got double preordained, Jace, Force of Will. And he's got mana, he's got spells.
He's going to run away with it now.
It's going to be a real game.
Yeah. You think it would have been right for Tom to try to play the jar and just go off on his turn 1?
I definitely am a fan of that.
Yeah.
But there's pros and cons to being aggressive or being a little more patient. But my play style with Storm is always throw bricks at opponent until one of them connects.
Well, you just have to assume that Tom could not be building his deck into facing turn 1, game 1, Stony Silence.
Sure.
So if we look at his list, what does he even have to do now?
Oh no, he certainly has a Hurkyl's Recall. He has a.
Well, Hurkyl's doesn't do it. He has a Chain of Vapor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And that does it. And he can Merchant Scroll for it. So we have 2 outs. Demonic Tutor. He can go.
And there
get
should
it
be
with
Demonic, and there
3.
should be Vampiric Tutor.
I don't see the Vampiric Tutor.
Does not look like he's playing a Vampiric Tutor. So he's got Merchant Scroll, he's got Demonic, and he's got to find that Chain of Vapor.
So 3 outs, and he has to go through some counter magic.
And there is something to be said. If he hits Tolarian Academy and can generate a bunch of mana out of nowhere, he doesn't necessarily need the artifacts to really put something together as far as Storm goes.
Okay.
You can Academy and Paradoxical Outcome, draw a bunch of cards, replay them all.
So we'll give him a 4th out there.
Leads into nice Mind's Desires, you know.
Well, for now, he doesn't even have to worry about pressure because Mike hasn't provided any yet. Not that that's bad. Mike's probably trying to shore up the game by searching for answers, which is good.
Sure.
Next turn, it looks like Mike can float mana, gush, replay a land, and then cast Jace and apply pressure that way.
Sure. Well, with the Stony Silence, I think.
Oh, can't do it with
He'll
Sapphire.
need one more turn to open that up.
Touche. Cards hurt yourself too.
Yeah, but Mike only plays a couple mocks, and he's not nearly as dependent on artifact mana as Tom is. But it does slow him down a little bit.
You see that draw?
I think he's okay with the trade-off. Oh, do we have a Chain of Vapor? Yeah, we do.
Right off the top. But there is a misstep and a Force of Will in Mike's hand, so better make sure this resolves.
So if I'm Tom, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't like running it out there when it's your only real out.
I agree. And right now it doesn't look like he has any backup. I think if he goes for it, he's in deep trouble.
This is one of those instances where Stony Silence is certainly better than Null Rod, because it's less susceptible than Null Rod is to things like Hurkyl's Recall, which is where my mind autopiloted to try and find that solution. No, I think Tom just needs to wait, and
I don't think he's going to though.
He's looking a little impatient though.
Yeah.
All right, he's just running it out there.
And that's game.
And Mike is gonna say no, sir.
I gotta assume Tom knows his list pretty well, and
no, you still play Yawgmoth's Will. You know, I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but
true.
It is certainly an option. And with this deck, there is the chance, like if he plays, he has a Mox in his hand, he may have another mana source in his hand.
Mentor's coming.
Even if they're not generating mana, if he hits an Academy, it really opens up a ton of plays.
Yeah,
Like play a couple of them, Paradoxical Outcome, draw a bunch of cards, replay them. He has the Volcanic, maybe just runs out and empty the Warrens, and oops, has 14 guys out there.
If you're Mike there, do you consider not playing the land balancing? Double stone rating your opponent?
Yeah.
You've already got the artifact.
Yeah,
down.
I love balance when it can be.
He decided not to.
Yeah.
You know he had a white floating from the gush.
You know, if you haven't played balance recently, sometimes your mind is not. You're treating it like a cheap Wrath of God and not like the Armageddon or the Mind Twist that it can be.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had to discard some cards, but he also had a bunch of extra cards in his hand.
Well, no, both of them have a bunch of cards in their hand. I don't think he would. Maybe 1 or 2 cards, but worth it.
Tom's hand is 5 deep. Mike had 6 at the time, so Tom would have had 4 at the time. So he would have had to discard 2. Not a huge deal.
No, I'll discard 2 cards to kill 2
summon.
lands in this scenario all day, every day.
Exactly. Especially with Storm, generally doesn't play very many lands. We have 2 Seas, 1 Volk, and an Island, and an Academy. So he would have been left with 1 sea,
10 lands
Island,
in the
and
deck.
an Academy.
Yeah, 10 lands in the deck, not counting any.
Given that Stony Silence is out, that is an excellent position to have been in.
Yep.
Granted, he might just have the win now with this strategy too.
You mean having Mentor in play and casting spells?
Time Walk especially.
it's strangely okay.
You gotta love these pro cards that they're pulling out for these tokens.
I like Mike's style with that. Needs more OSIP.
Yeah. Oh, well,
And we've got a gush.
Let's do it. Should be able to kill right now.
Oh, he's at 10 right now, so he needs, what,
He
3
needs
spells?
4 cards. Gush, Fragmentize, Force of Will something. It's easy, put him to 1. And there's an Ancestral.
Hey. Ancestral Recall,
That'll,
not a terrible card to draw.
That'll do.
And I'm sure Mike has mana floating. We don't know what type, but one of it is blue. So as of right now, he's swinging for 7.
Having played a lot of Mentor myself, I like putting the summoning sick counters on the other side of Mentor. And it kind of differentiates
a little bit of separation,
can
sure.
attack. So I think Mike is supposed to hold priority with this Fragmentize and then Force to Will it. But maybe he's not going for that kill?
Well, I don't know why he wouldn't do that, but
I guess he could swords one of his summoning sick tokens to also go for the kill.
yeah, I think that's a little more reasonable.
Or preordained too. Oh, he's putting him to 1. Or he's got his swords in combat.
No, he played the volcanic. He doesn't have.
No, he's just putting him to 1. Oh, he's like Mana Vault do the job.
Oh,
that's rubbing
cruel.
in the salt.
That's cruel. I like it.
I like it too.
Oh, you chose to play this Mana Vault? Well,
I did not
reap the rewards.
Did not think Mike was going to win that game. I mean,
Tom started off very strong.
Yeah.
But sometimes you draw 7 cards and nothing happens. I would have played Memory Jar and continued going, though.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, it's just too much value to pass.
Because passing back is
not so great.
Little risky.
Yeah, I'm even not opposed to having cast the Memory Jar and passed. Because if people are on the Fragmentized plan, the only thing that you'd fear is turn 1 Dak Faden out of a deck that doesn't play that much Accelerant.
Right. Or Stony Silence in this case.
Sure. Yeah. But I don't know if he knows about that so much. And he's counting on like game 1 threats.
Rich Shea played this Stony Silence main deck version of Mentor on Magic Online. Not on VSL, but some dailies and put up some good results. So it should be on players' radar in a general way. I don't think if I'm not coming into this tournament planning on having a
turn 1 Stony Silence on you.
But should somewhat be. I don't see a huge problem with him passing back, but in this deck, if I have 6 Storm and 5 mana and a Memory Jar in my hand, I'm casting Memory Jar. and even if it's in the plans of untapping and jarring right away, I don't know if he just didn't think that he had 4 mana floating or got caught up in it, and sometimes that happens. And
so if you're Tom, what are you boarding in here? Fluster Storms, Pyroblast, Chain of Vapor,
let's see.
Defense Grid.
Well, I'm certainly I like boarding in Chain of Vapor. Certainly, I'm probably removing the Hurkyl's Recall. The Hurkyl's isn't going to do anything in this matchup. The Chain of Vapor serves the same function both offensively and defensively. Handling Stony Silence as well as bouncing your own permanents with 1 mana instead of 2 mana, like Hurkyl's would. Toxic Deluge is definitely coming in. Mentor and all his monks.
Sweep them. Sweep the leg.
Defense Grid, exactly. Defense Grid is definitely coming in. And I don't know if I'm bringing in Flusterstorm or Trap. Both of them are fine. I don't know if he has anything in his list that he's really unhappy with in the Mentor matchup.
Yeah, there's an odd mix between Defense Grid and Flusterstorm.
Yeah, I really prefer to bring in. I am a fan of Defense Grid. I think the card is great.
Big fan as well. I think so too.
He has 2 main deck, so he's bringing a 3rd.
There might be an argument for removing Force of Wills, since
I've certainly done that. Not proud to admit it. Not sure if it's the right thing to do, but
if you're coming in with Flusterstorm,
just want to be aggressive.
You're kind of hitting the same sort of targets. Although Force of Willing a Stony Silence could come in pretty handy also. So
definitely.
There's definitely a hard choice for Tom. I think I want him to choose one hard way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't want a split of a lot of these things.
I'm also okay if he brings in Blightsteel Colossus.
I think that too, actually.
If Mentor is going to have options like Flusterstorm or Mindbreak Trap or really being able to
The sorts of postures aren't going to remain in the deck, importantly.
Nah.
So they're going to be sided out, and
you get to dance around with a little bit of,
yeah,
next leveling him on the sideboard options.
yeah. I think we just have to dodge attack Faden at that point. Which does this list plays 2?
It plays Dak Faden. It might not be a card that sticks around.
Yeah.
I don't mind boarding out. Now this deck plays a lot of artifacts.
A lot, yeah.
But let's see what he has in the board that he would want to bring in.
Yeah, they're not the kind that you want to steal.
He does not have there's no really dedicated sideboard slots for a Storm matchup. He does have 2 Graph Digger's Cages, which is good against Yawgmoth's Will. But this deck certainly does not need to lean on Yawgmoth's Will as a crutch like TPS did or Intuition Tendrils, right?
Yeah. It is one of my favorite cards in the game. Anytime I've ever resolved the Yawgmoth's Will, I've just gotten to do silly things.
Just feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, it's everything that you want to do and more. It's
absolutely
so great. Is there anything that you think is missing from this Storm list that you would like to have or like to see?
No, it looks solid. It looks very. It's very straightforward. It's very linear. It's not a.
For me, I don't see Treasure Cruise or Dig Through Time.
So those are both excellent cards.
Time Twister, we're not playing them?
No, not because of Time Twister. This is not a deck that has the same concentration of Preordains and a Brainstorm and a Ponder, and it's all those card slots are all taken up by Gitaxian Probe and Paradoxical Outcome.
Okay.
So sometimes you're not putting as many cards into your graveyard as quickly until you're going off, and at that point it doesn't really matter.
Just say it, and maybe it's just me, but you'd have a pretty hard time getting me to take my boat out of my deck.
Well, it's a good card, that's for sure. But, what would you cut here to play that?
Yeah.
I can't pick an easy card, and I'm not a fan of the 61st, so.
No, I'm not a fan of the 61st either, so.
But so they're underway, and Tom had led with Delta Go, and Mike went Tarn Pearl Go. So not quite the explosive start that we saw last game, but Tom played a Lotus Petal, which leads me to believe he's going to do stuff. Because usually you're not playing needless artifacts without a reason. I don't see his hand exactly.
Looks like Mind's Desire, and he didn't do anything. So yeah, you're right. That is weird. 2 Force Wills and a Brainstorm.
Oh, he wants to Brainstorm and have the Delta to shuffle stuff away.
I don't know if that's a play I like.
It's not perfect, but
So
if that's the line he wants, then.
So Mike didn't do anything either and pass back. This is where Tom wants to be. He wants to have more cards that just sit here.
Sure.
With nobody advancing.
So they draw go again. Tom drew a Mana Vault. And,
Mike drew another Force of Will.
Definitely. Mike is. Hey,
right,
now we're gonna play that Brainstorm.
And now we got him. Now we want to be there.
Mental Misstep. Of course you have Mental Misstep. I'm just imagining the conversation that's
Yeah.
going on right now.
Of course. Oh, gosh.
Who plays that card?
Gosh. Oh, we have a probe. Okay.
Hey, let's see the bad news of how many Force Wills.
Yeah. Oh, just 2. And I feel like the person with the boat is gonna come away with this game.
Yeah, if he gets to play it.
It's true.
Now, if I'm Tom, I'm regardless of what I'm drawing, I'm probably casting the Mana Vault.
Right. But you're gonna get it misstepped.
He might actually. That's a good point.
And then I think you're filling Mike's graveyard to get that boat cast, which leads to a not so great game for Tom.
Hey, I think did he draw a Sensei's Divining Top?
It looked like a Mox Opal.
Not sure. He does play 1 top in the deck, so. Which I actually think is the kind of marginal card. It's kind of the 23rd spell type
it's
of.
Cute with the Paradoxical Outcome, I guess. Tap, put the trigger on the stack, bounce your top, get a draw 2 out of it.
Sure. It is an artifact. This deck loves artifacts.
Uh-oh.
Alright, so that.
Wow, pitching Mind's Desire.
What do you think about that? Faden is good. Mine's Desire is better.
Yeah.
Unless Tom is hard on the Tinker Blightsteel plan. I mean, I have no problem forcing it. I'm probably pitching the other Force of Will.
Yeah, that's where I was at too.
And there's the misstep we knew he had.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom knew he had. Yeah, so Tom is trying to develop his board a little bit, but once Mike gets rolling here,
and he's rolling now.
I don't think it's going to be the easiest thing in the world to stop him.
In boat range.
And he's got 2 mana floating. Let's get that useless fetch land out of there and fuel the boat.
Now, if you're Tom at this point, you're probably having these horrible thoughts like, I was so close, top 8, and it's just slowly being taken away. And if you're Mike, you're probably like, yes, 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 yes.
So we have a resolved Treasure Cruise, and gives him, I believe, a Pyroblast and a Mox Sapphire, and another card that I did not catch. I think it was a Scalding Tarn. A Library of Alexandria.
That's his favorite.
While excellent, doesn't do much here. Wouldn't be surprised if that went to the bottom, and it does. And now we gotta figure out how many of these cards we're gonna end up discarding.
What does that say?
That's probably a Jace. I see a VRYN there in the text box.
You're right.
So not exactly a checklist card, but works for me.
And 7 cards, no discards.
Not a bad plan.
Got in under the wire and has lots of backup.
And he has Pyroblast up, and this is going to be tough for Tom to... oh, but you know what can't be Pyroblasted?
Defense grid. It's a good start.
Wheel of Fortune cannot be Pyroblasted.
No, that's true.
But unfortunately, he is not going to be able to cast that this turn.
Mike deciding what to force a will pitch with.
Just had a Snapcaster Mage in the middle of that there. Yep.
Are you surprised the Snapcaster went?
No, because he nuked his graveyard to play the Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, and he has Jace out to flashback too.
Yeah. So he's not losing any real value for that. Draw a Gitaxian Probe. And let's loot. Discard some of this extraneous land. And we've got a Jace.
Already counting on how he can flashback his boat.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes.
You know, draw more cards, win more games, right?
Absolutely. And if he probes first, he can even keep a red up for Pyroblast.
I like the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Mike chose to probe, paying 2 life. And
Makes
he's going to
sense.
flashback a Delve Treasure Cruise, leaving up Volcanic Island for right now Pyroblast and maybe Mental Misstep, maybe Flusterstorm. We'll see
Yeah.
what he ends up drawing.
Looks like we drew a Ruby for the Pyroblast, so we can actually cast Preordain if we want.
I'm excited.
And like he can keep the mana up for Flusterstorm, which he also drew. But Tom's hand is Wheel of Fortune, Force of Will, and he knows this. So there's not exactly anything that Tom can do where he's worried about. But he does pass.
Tom is very much not sure what Tom could draw that would make a huge difference here.
I like when people hold their miscellaneous draw steps. At least makes the other player think and play a little differently.
Who wants those pesky lands anyway?
So pesky. Get that Brainstorm in the graveyard anytime.
So I'm pretty sure his life total right now is 10 after the Gataxian Probe and the fetch. I'm not sure what the if the judge over there has a better handle on it than I do, but Mike is looking pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, this game has not just slipped away, but completely left the
And now if he had a mentor in play already, this would have been game over
right
turns ago. Now it's just
there it is.
digging for it, and then there we go.
Deck. Let's take them both.
Why not?
You should probably just deck and steal the Mox Opal. And not only is it effective, but it also shuts off Tolarian Academy. And by effective, I mean Mike has Metalcraft, so he can utilize it. And Tom can't even tap it before he takes it because he doesn't have Metalcraft.
Right. Gives him a usable.
Yep.
I think he's probably just going to play the mentor.
Yeah.
And then he'll probably ponder into the.
Put the game away quick.
The deck for next turn.
I'm cool with that too.
Or no, actually, with Flusterstorm in hand, I think it's mentor and pass.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Totally.
Yeah. I think anything else, you're just kind of like tormenting Tom at this point. Let's just put Tom out of his misery.
Yep.
You know, he's a
Tom,
horse that's broken his leg.
does Mike have another Force of Will in his hand, or is he really relying on Flusterstorm right now?
Mike has a Force in his hand, yeah.
Yeah, so this game is just
solidly over.
I'm trying to think what Tom's outs could be.
If you were playing with your friends at the kitchen table, you would just reveal your hand and be like, hey, you want to go to the next one? And, yeah.
So he's got to try and run the wheel out, and Mike knows that. I think he just Flusterstorms here.
Yeah, we're just revealing at this point.
So he did wait to draw a blue card.
Yep. Force pitch, Pyroblast the force back. Let's get 2 mentor counters, tokens.
Let's get some monks.
Yep. Which pros? We didn't get OSIP.
So he needs to cast 4 spells this turn to make that lethal, and he's got guaranteed flashback to Brainstorm. He's got Dak Faden on the top of his deck.
Yeah, there's.
So I'm pretty.
I see 4 spells in his hand already.
And so we're there.
Even without using his Jace or any of the cards he's going to see with his spells.
Sure. Can use just his Moxen to cast Dak Faden. Because that's what I would do.
Of course.
Keep that flexibility up. So let's see if he goes for the spiteful steal your Mox Opal.
So competitive tournament rules now, you don't actually have to announce those prowess things until it's ready to be assigned.
Right, until it changes the game in some way.
Right, but Mike's been diligent. He's been announcing his prowess triggers.
I don't think he's trying to do anything.
Oh, opponent tapped his Mox Opal. I don't think he can do that without Metalcraft.
I don't think that will matter, but
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Not sure if it can tap and just not create mana, but always good to check the Oracle on Mox Opal.
Yep. All right, we untapped it. We caught it.
There we go. People keeping track just the way they should. Yeah, unless you have Metalcraft, you're not able to tap it at all.
Right.
Wasn't sure if it had tap do nothing, unless you have Metalcraft.
All this deliberation. Our opponent is hell-bent. We literally have the kill in so many different variations already.
He's just,
and we're
toying with him at this point.
Yeah, Tom's like,
just toying with him.
Oh, what do I have? What do I have? What do I have? Well, you don't even have another draw, Tom. I'm sorry. Your opponent is just toying with his meat, deciding on how well he wants his steak cooked. What are we doing, Mike? Why are we going to the attack step?
Swinging with.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any blockers. Can you just finish him off? Oh no, we're letting him do another draw step just cause.
That's exceptional. You know, Pyroblast is possible to just Pyroblast, force it, and get in there for lethal.
Yeah, but nah.
He wanted him to know.
Yeah, let's pretend to give him a chance.